How about the
I did loosen up that centerboard.
Did not?
Did not.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'd like to crawl up there.
We just want to flatten it out.
Sure don't see another drain down here. It's got to go into there. Oh, there it is.
Hold it, John. Can you go up just an inch? Good. Hold it right there. Okay, come down slow.
Kind of fun. First time I've ever seen it.
Yeah. See, it's fun for everyone.
Yeah.
And stop.
So she's at an angle, okay.
Is it all the way out?
You might be able to pull it down more.
Go ahead a little more.
More line. The line is done coming out.
No more line?
More line, but it's not feeding.
Okay, good. That's probably it then.
Right?
Keel's in good shape. A little bit of gel coat delam right here.
So it's just, what is it? I think it's fiberglass, isn't it? Yeah, she's fiberglass.
It is fiberglass.
Okay.
It's just not a big deal. Ease that it came down, I can tell you that you're not getting a delaminating effect.
Try not to touch that stuff because it's really nasty.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
To the keel.
Huh, interesting.
I didn't like the looks of this, but Scott might have a different opinion.
Okay, we're inside the boat where I'm doing some work. And right there against the back rail, you can see, what you wouldn't know, that it's unprepared because I pulled off that section of carpet and it was quite the mess. That's what the carpet looked like over there in the corner. Really a mess. All the glue is turned to a red dust basically in clumps. And the carpet, you can't really call it carpet, it's more like a canvas, is, oops, sorry, too dark, is loose and smelly, and I plan to replace as much of it as I can. You can see up in the corner, let's see if you can see that. It's crappy. I've got my Coleman lantern going, so I'll give us some light and some heat. Do you see? There's that mess. So I don't like it. I'll take a shot here in a second when I move the light, show you the section that I did replace. But just remember, there's this ugly old thing there, and it's a lot actually better looking than when the carpet was still sitting there. But if you can imagine, it looked like that thing all the way across and ugly. So, okay, there's the repair. Now it does not look a whole lot nicer than the upper section. Bottom section looked actually worse because it had stains. Let's see if I can get a little closer. There she is after my repair, and that's before. Okay. Alright, Coleman lantern, and that section runs out till that spot there where the old carpet begins. So, got my work cut out for me. Okay, starboard side, doesn't look like much to you guys, but it was hard to get out. And there was a big alcohol stove in there, which I now put down under the seats. So that's there for towels and clean storage, for rags and books or other stuff that I can keep off the counter. But that's all done. And I replaced the carpet underneath this thing. Did a real nice job on that corner. Wet sanded it. See the reflection? It's about as good as I could get it. Wet sanded it several times and then waxed it with polishing and then finishing. Okay, new ratchet. Inch actually. These things are bunks that the boat's sitting on. I had that carpet replaced and it turns out one of the logs was bad. The logs, one piece of wood, so that's been replaced. And new bunk, obviously new bottom paint. New engine mount with a modified white thing there. I'm going to put the tiller back on today. I kind of scraped it up, but I painted the white part. Obviously I did the blue. A little bit of an alley here, a little bit of a dip. I might have to fiddle with this one. This one looks pretty good in parallel already. So we'll be putting the hardware back on the tiller and trying to do our thing. I'll show you a little. Alright, we'll try. It's dark in here. Obviously the bottom rail I had done before, but as you can see, I've now gone and done the rest of the chute. Keep dropping the fume. Hardest thing is this little ridge here that's obviously supports the boat. Yeah, it's easy to do with something really light like the canvas that was on before, but with this stuff it's a little trickier. So that very, very back section, it's kind of just glued over the top of it. But serves its purpose, it's all cleaned up. Nasty old corners are all cleaned up. Had to take these rails off, these back seat rails, or back rest rails actually. There's that side, all nice and cleaned up. Again, I've done the bottom before. And it goes all the way back. I had to take this box off a little bit to get it to fit in there. There's a little bit of stuff I can do right at the very top because there's wood up there in sections underneath the fiberglass, and you couldn't quite just tuck the carpet up underneath. Where you can tuck it up underneath, it's really great. Okay, there's the front of the boat, and you can see that carpet's all been done. So the only thing that's left, the old stuff. I still have the closet. There's, you see the old droopy stuff. And a little bit here in the sink area. But, squeezing through the door. This one hung kind of nicely because I could actually get it up underneath the fiberglass rail and there weren't any pieces of wood in here. So, came out just fine. Alright. I'm going to work on the rudder now. I also worked on the wood. Some of that, I scrubbed it and put a restorer kind of stuff on it. It has a little bit of color, but not much. But I just wanted to get to look a little fresher. So I did that step and that step. Get around the top of the door there. Redid that little homemade piece of wood. Came out nicer looking, and I redid the rail through there. And it made a difference. Did this little rail all the way to the back. Okay. Alright, that's the wood restoration project. Back of the boat. New bumpers. They help. Color-coded line I had. Besides, the other ones were too much work to clean. Teak on this, even though I sanded it down to obviously bare wood, it keeps coming out dark. I suppose I can experiment someday with something else, but a lot of the shots I've seen of older Odays, older boats for that matter, the wood comes out dark. But all the wood is done, so at least it is sealed from the weather. And did the tiller as well. It came out a little dark. Obviously the side thing there, storage, and the entranceway, including the handle, all been redone. The next task is finding some light blue paint, sky blue I believe is the color, and redo some of the sections where you can see the black is shining through. So I guess down underneath it is basically starts with black, I guess, because it's wearing off, getting down to something. But most of it's in great shape. And again, the hull came back nicely with wet sanding, and then multiple steps of polish and wax. And I did the white there as well, this time wet sand. And the hatch I did wet sand. But most of the top, obviously I left oxidized so it's less slippery. But I did around the windows and followed it up with wax. Pretty good looking for 1976. Of course the sail cover had to be replaced. New bag for the front, for the jib. And the anodized, gold anodized mast has been holding up fine. I tried to clean it 50,000 different ways, never really found a good way to do it. But she looks good enough. Just looked for a way to get rid of some of that darkness, but it baffles me to this day. But the wood looks good. It's at least nice and uniform. Okay, let's take some shots inside and show you what I did in there. Then we'll go for a sail. Okay, sails are original, but I have updated the lines. Okay, stepping down into the boat. Okay. biggest problem with an old boat is the old canvas inside on the sides. Often stained, often, you know, folded, falling down. And you saw some of the shots on the earlier stuff. This is just Home Depot real thin carpet that I've cut and glued. The hardest part was getting the canvas down because it was a mess, and that old red glue behind it, it's just a real mess to work with. And the first year all I did was do underneath the bottom rails. And I cleaned all the cushions because the first year I had the boat was last year. And I just didn't want clean cushions up against that yuck, so I just did the bottom part up rail. But this year, obviously it's all done. Just makes it feel a whole lot nicer to be up against something that, you know, is not 35 years old and gunky. This is a homemade piece of wood. Max is a nice shelf. All the cushions are in great shape. All that stuff's been replaced back there. All the wood's been rubbed out basically, and looks fresher. Just your normal wood restoration products, as well as your normal waxing products for the wood. There's a lot of wax over rubbed onto a lot of the white sections of fiberglass here, which I've gotten clean with a toothbrush, and that's looking over there. You can still obviously see some seams, and there's a few gaps at the top that I'll fill with thin strips later. You couldn't get the, like I said before, I think you can't get the carpet all the way up underneath in some sections because there's wood under there that interferes. Where you can slip it up underneath, then it's a piece of cake and it looks a lot better. But just to be clean, and there'll be times when you have to go back in. I can see this is sagging over here a little bit. I'm going to need to re-glue, but it's just so much better than yuck. 1976, you know, what do you expect? But all of it cleaned up really well. The wood cleaned up nicely. Again, with toothbrush and elbow grease, everything is freshened up and looks pretty new to me. New little piece of carpet. Again, there's the front. A little closet. I did replace the canvas in there. I can see that's got a little air bubble to it. I'll need to fix that. And up front, that's all been replaced. There's a little gap up there, needs new glue, but just so much nicer to refresh. Here you can see a little bit of the old carpet that was there, our old canvas, and even it has a stain or two, and you can hardly even reach that. But when the whole boat was that way, it just didn't feel nice and clean or fresh. So now we solved that problem. Got a new little porta potty. Nothing, no big deal. But it's fresh and new. You always want dirt's okay, but only if it's your dirt. So everything's clean. Water system needs to be fixed. That doesn't work, so I just bottled water. But you know, everything else is clean. All right, back to the boat. Wow.